How about questions from the audience? We've been talking a lot up here.
I'm surprised nobody has mentioned The Stand by Stephen King.
Oh, yes. Love that. I love the choices last night.
And also Needful Things, because Devil sets up a nice little store, has whatever, the one thing you've always wanted. He doesn't ask a price, he's just like, oh, just do this little favor for me. It rolls into people start dying, and the whole town starts going.
Yeah. Any questions from you?
I just don't think, like what she was talking about, I don't think you can actually take even that's just something you can't do without a horror theme or a horror genre. You know, those types of things are by nature going to freak people out, and they should.
Well, the interesting thing was I went to a Mennonite high school. Catholic high school to the 10th degree. I was reading that, and my religion teacher was like, why are you reading that? I'm like, the story in this is supernatural. We're fight God, devil's in here, and God, people have to make a choice and trying to find a way to redeem themselves. And, to resist the temptation of the one thing they've always wanted.
And you can't do that with fairies. Well, you could do that with fairies, but it's a lot easier with horror.
Yeah, and you raise a very good point about, not really being able to accomplish it outside of horror. A lot of the complaints that I hear when I talk to people about, I hesitate to say Christian entertainment, but I mean, for lack of a better phrase, a better label, we'll call it that, is that, they too often seem afraid to touch the sin nature that we have. They're afraid to deal with it. They're afraid to look at the darkness that does exist in the world. Or they want to treat it with kid gloves and, no, it's not really so bad. It's not really so bad, then why is the world, going the way it's going? Why is there such a need for God if it's not really so bad? So yeah, I think that if we can step over those boundaries a little bit and, not go so far as to say, oh, look at how pretty evil is, in a sense that we're trying to glamorize it, in the eyes of people, although, of course, the devil will make it look pretty to people, and we may want to portray that as a lie he spins, but, it's not about, well, let's see how many creative ways we can find to kill people and have their blood spurt out all over the ground, and we'll call it a movie. Yeah. Yeah. Well, even Saul, though. Well, I do I just recently started a website called Righteous Recommendations, where I examine the spiritual content of movies. I talk about general things and stuff as well, but I try to focus on the spiritual aspects. And I have actually pulled some surprisingly deep spiritual connotations out of at least the early Saw movies, not necessarily the later ones, because they kind of went downhill pretty quickly. But
I only saw the first one because Carrie Ellis was in it.
yeah, I was actually really impressed with the second one. The second one's my favorite by far. And, and it may go back to what Tracy was talking about earlier. I was looking for positive spiritual elements within the movie, and therefore I found them. I saw something that I could take out of that was positive for me. It was a positive message that I could then take and talk about with other people and share it. And, maybe not everybody gets that. Maybe people are so turned off by the blood, the torture, and the pain that the Saw movies seem to necessitate, and that anything that's deeper than that can't really get through because they're kind of turned off before that any kind of message gets through. And I tend to think that their stories could have been a lot more powerful if they had dialed down on the torture point. But
so if this was shown on broadcast TV, it would be about a half hour long.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, but I think that there's also, for instance, we talk target market. There are different targets, and certain things aren't going to get through. They aren't going to watch the torture people, but then certain people will. And I do think when you're dealing with any type of darkness, there will be people who either because of past experiences can't read your stuff, or because of fears they won't. And that's just how the cookies are going to fall. I
Christian. I had an orange mohawk, punk rock, stuff like that, and became a Christian. And thought, now out of all these possibilities, here are my entertainment possibilities. I realized, no, it's not that way.
Right.
All of it is made and owned by God. We don't have to avoid something or fear something because it's evil. No, I mean, we can go there and make
Right.
it ours.
Right. We can. Yeah.
I just noticed that we've only been, it's called Religion and Horror, and we've only been talking about Christian influences. Thought I'd go ahead and share this with you. A very, very classic movie is based off a Jewish tradition, Jewish story, and that's Frankenstein, the story of the golem.
That-
Did you store